My name is Omar Thabit from MotivateMe313, and today we have a show and a panel for you that you would definitely want to tune in for. If you are tuning in, and if you are watching this later, you are going to definitely want to watch this from the beginning to the end. But I'm going to get straight to the point and introduce the people that are in this Zoom call with me. First and foremost, I'm going to start off from the bottom and go around. So if you are watching this, below me we have Ruma Begum, aka Ruma Styles. She is an Instagram influencer. She is in the building today. I don't know if you guys check this out, but we have all women on the panel because this is Women Empowerment Day today on Motivate Me 313. So we have Ruma Begum, and next to Ruma, we have Daz'Shavon Hall, who's there laughing, a great friend of mine. She is a treasurer on the school board. You know, when I ask her, you're on the school board, she's
secretary.
Secretary. I'm sorry, secretary. So when I asked her, she just said, yeah, I'm on the board. She's humble. She even want to say that she's the secretary on the board, but she's on the Hamtramck Public Schools school board. Daz'Shavon Hall's in the building. By the way, longtime friend of mine, Daz'Shavon Hall. Next to Daz'Shavon Hall, we have the mayor, the one and only Mayor Majewski. You know, she's used to these Zoom calls. If you guys ever watch the council meetings, you know, she's the head lady in charge, the head honcho in the building. She holds it down, and she's definitely going to be holding it down today as well. Looking forward to hearing what she has to say. And then above Mayor Majewski, we have Shayma Ghaleb, who is also the founder of Shay Strong. She is surviving multiple sclerosis. She is surviving multiple sclerosis right now, and everybody's gonna get a chance to also introduce themselves as well. But Shayma Ghaleb is in the building, and then next to her, for those that are watching, so my sister's seen the panel, and she was like, "Man, I need to come on." I've been trying to push her to come on this panel or coming on doing other stuff, and she's always been with me, supporting me and helping me with questions and stuff like that. But today she was like, you know what, I need to come on today. I need to be on this panel because it sounds like a great panel and sounds like we're going to have a lot of fun. So I'm definitely looking forward to hearing from Big Sis. She's also the co-host of today's show today. So before I begin and before I start asking questions, I just want to say this, just from my part, in my opinion, I'm just so happy to be doing this, so happy to have all 5 of you ladies in the building. You know, I don't care if you're a man or a woman, everyone in their lives has a woman that they look up to, whether it's their mom, their grandma, their auntie, their cousin, someone in their life, their friend that they look up to. And I'm so happy that today we have 5 of you in on this panel that I'm sure someone in your family looks up to you. You know, I could just, speaking to my sister alone, I look up to her for sure. Big sister, by the way. So looking forward to hearing each and every single one of you speak. For those that are watching, feel free to comment. You guys have any questions that you want to ask, feel free to shoot the questions. We are live. We are here. I have Facebook and Instagram in front of me. With that said, I will start off with the question. If you want to maybe touch a little more about who you are when I do ask this first question, and then you can go ahead and answer the question as well. I'm going to start off with you, Mayor Majewski. By the way, today's topic, which is, are women treated fairly in today's society? You know, so Mayor Majewski, that is the first question. I don't know if you want to touch a little more on who you are for those that may not know you, but go ahead, Mayor Majewski. That is the first question.
Yeah, sure. I mean, probably people do know who I am. I've been mayor of Hamtramck since 2006, and I was on city council for a couple of years before that. I have a PhD in American culture from University of Michigan, and yeah, that's about it. But you know, that question of whether women are treated fairly in today's society, I mean, I don't think that you could find any society in any time in which women were treated equally as men. So you know, this is just, you know, the discussion we're having tonight is just part of a kind of a continuing movement toward, you know, self-actualization for everybody, for men and women. That, you know, that's historical, and you know, that's part of our journey as human beings, right? And as members of a society that we're trying to create a just and equitable, and a society in which we can all fulfill our potentials. So, you know, this is part of that, like, centuries, millennia old, you know, dialogue. Um, but you know, I think it's the question is kind of so fraught, you know, and so uh, so difficult to resolve because it encompasses, you know, the personal parts of our lives, you know, the family members and people that you look up to, you know, that you mentioned, Omar, and as well as the kind of structures of our society. And those are the things that are kind of, you know, hard that are so emotional for all of us, and that get reflected then in the cultures and the societies and the structures that we create. So no, my quick answer is no. But my larger answer is that it's part of a journey, of a human journey, in which we try to create a better world, all of us, as we go through it. And that has, I think, special challenges because it encompasses both our personal lives and the society that we create, and that helps create us too, which also makes it hard to kind of transcend the things that we've been taught, and to even envision ourselves in new ways, or in you know, kind of new structures and new kind of society. So that's my answer, I guess.
Thank you, Mayor Majewski. I'm gonna dish it to you now, Daz'Shavon Hall. Yep, right to you, Deja. Be ready now. All right. So, are women treated fairly in today's society? And if you want to tell people more about yourself as well, Deja.
I feel like people already know who I am, but I'm Daz'Shavon Hall. And to answer that question, it's a complete no. Like the mayor said, this has been centuries. Like, this is a man's world, and for some reason, as the centuries and decades went about, men still think it's the same way. But you know, us as women, we got to empower ourselves and keep it moving, because we got a lady vice president and she has to be African American, and that's great. But for sure, like, she kind of just told everything. So I agree with the mayor.
All right. Ruma, going to you now. Ruma Begum, can you answer the question of, are women treated fairly in today's society?
It's a no for me. And the reason why I say this is, like, in all my family debates and even in public debates that we've had, women are considered to be treated as second-class citizens majority worldwide. It doesn't matter what culture, it doesn't matter what religion, it doesn't matter. It's a no, a huge no.
And do you want to tell maybe people more about yourself also? I know you were kind of talking about where you were born and raised and all that.
Yeah, so my name is Ruma Begum. My first name is Mahmuda, but I go by Ruma. I'm a social media influencer, and I go by Ruma Styles. And I started off using fashion as an expression of art to just kind of voice of how I was and how I felt about my life. And that kind of broke a lot of barriers, because I come from a very conservative home, very conservative culture, very conservative religion. So everything I was doing was initially like nobody was doing at that time in our community. So I got a lot of heat for it. I was trying to break all that cultural barrier, and being a girl from Hamtramck, it was really rough. And so it just happened to become like an advocate for women's rights, just by doing what I love. It was by accident. Like, I just wanted to do fashion, and then it turned into something bigger.
Well, you're definitely an inspiration, Ruma, and I'm sure everyone on this panel will agree, and especially those that are watching, so keep up the great work. And now I'm going to shift it off to Shayma Ghaleb. For those that didn't hear me earlier, she's currently surviving multiple sclerosis. I literally went on YouTube and made sure I heard it right, just to say it right and I pronounce it right. But Shayma, you want to first tell people more about, what are you surviving, what that's about, and then also about yourself, and then answering the question of, are women treated fairly in today's society?
Yeah, of course. I was diagnosed with MS when I was 19 years old. So MS is an autoimmune disease that kind of works similar to, I like to say, cancer, because that's what everybody's really used to. But instead of cancer dealing with the cells, MS deals with the nerves. So little background, nerves don't replenish themselves. So what you have is what you have. So when mine, basically when my body deteriorates or that's it. I don't have those nerves anymore. So I have to learn to live with, coping and things like that. Shay Strong was developed, honestly, MS was kind of like a cherry on the top. I was always a different kid. I was the 3-year-old looking at Freddy Krueger on Halloween weekend saying, hey, don't pick at my sister, don't pick at my cousin. Like, no, you're not. Like, I was always very outspoken, very like directive when it comes to that kind of stuff. So when I got MS, like it literally, like I felt like it was my calling. Like this was like telling me I'm a cherry on the top, like you have to service people. It is your job to help people. So now I take that and I wear it like an honor and I don't even look at it. And when people tell me, oh, I feel sorry for you, I'm like, that's my biggest flex. Like I do everything that anybody can do and I deal with this. So I just like to spread the positivity, spread the love, you know, keep it going.
Awesome. And how about the question? I'm sorry.
For the question, gonna sound redundant like these beautiful ladies, but absolutely no. Unfortunately, women are often looked like what I like to say a minority group. And what's funny to me is we hold a larger population. We're the 51%. We hold it. So it's funny how that reflects to society as we're the underdogs. And if you watch sports, and I know all of you guys are familiar with that, you always root for the underdog. So I'll just keep it at that for right now.
All right, thank you so much. And then last but not least, Big Sis is in the building. If you want to just maybe introduce yourself. And I know you're the co-host and you said you don't want to answer much of the questions, but I'm going to let you, at least for sure, I want to hear what you have to say with this one. So Big Sis, go ahead. You want to introduce yourself and then answer the question as well?
All right, so my name is not Big Sis. It's actually Ivy Fevett, and I'm a first grade teacher. I have a double major in early childhood and elementary education. Education is everything to me. I want to inspire the young ladies. I was inspired by a woman, so I wanted to be someone that inspires younger women. And I agree with all the ladies. We can all agree that women are not treated fairly, and we work harder. So why not get treated the same? So definitely.
Well, my wife chimes in, by the way. She said beautiful ladies and my handsome, so she wanted to make sure, and we're getting thumbs up and likes from people, and people giving people shout outs, so we can get the show on the road. I know we kind of started off with a broad question, but now we can get into more deeper. Big Sis, did you want to ask the second question, by the way, if you wanted to?
Yeah.
So go ahead, it's on you now.
Okay, so for me, growing up in Hamtramck as a Yemenia was kind of hard. I never thought in a million years that I would grow up and actually have a career. It was not a norm in my culture. And I'm going to repeat culture because it has nothing to do with religion, it's culture. Women got married and had kids, and the man was the sole provider. I'm not saying that that's wrong or that's not the ideal lifestyle. It just wasn't for me personally. I admire and respect women who choose to stay at home and be stay-at-home moms. My mom is literally the strongest person that I know. I respect every family's choices and upbringings, and this is my personal experience, and I nor the panel here today intend to speak on behalf of a whole race. We are here to share our stories and our opinions in hopes that someone would relate and become motivated. So let me get back to my story. It was not until I actually went into high school where I encountered someone that looked like me that was teaching. Shout out to Ms. Fadak, Ms. Saleh, I think she's related to you, Ms. Ghaleb, Ms. Saleh, and Ms. Muhammad. These women inspired me to be all that I can be, honestly, and they gave me hope. They paved the way for me, and I'm here now as a first grade teacher at a younger age in hopes to, inspire younger girls and create a new generation that's more optimistic to these things. I feel like we have come a long way, but we still have much more to improve on. With that being said, can you ladies please share your experience on how your specific culture, whether it's the Polish, Bangladeshi, Yemeni, African American, their views on independent women or women in the workplace?
And we can start off with you, Shayma, and then we'll go around.
Okay. So I am also Yemenia. I was raised in the east end of Dearborn. Now, the reason why I like to specify that is because Dearborn, we're this big one city, but it's divided. So you have sections where the freedom and the liberations are a lot, like it's on a bigger spectrum. just by a few miles. So because of where I was living, I did have a little bit more freedom, if you will, than like most of my friends did. Now, also, my family came to America in the early 70s. So we've been here for a minute. So we've digested the American culture really quick. So what I know is a lot different. So how I was raised was completely different from the girl next door. I was raised to believe in education and to be on those grounds. But it's so funny because when I walk the walk, I talk the talk, and people are looking at me like, why are you doing this? Like, this is not okay. And I literally had people tell me, what you're doing is not okay. And it's like, why? Because I'm bettering my life, because I want to exceed. And there's nothing wrong with, I'm not gonna say there's nothing wrong with our culture, but I will say there's nothing wrong with females having that thought of marriage and then getting married and then that being their life. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Every girl wants to get married, for real, But I don't ever want my life to be capped at marriage. I don't want to have that marriage becomes my identity. And that's where our problem is. Our problem is we cannot distinguish a person of a whole different gender because of the fact that they're that gender. So for me, it's like I'm fighting on the same team, and I'm just like, yo, get with it, come on. As we're trying to move this innovation that hopefully people will more likely jump on.
Definitely.
So as far as the question, we definitely need more work.
Nice, great. I'm gonna move now to Ruma. If you wanna go ahead and answer that question. I mean, do you know the question that was asked, by the way, Ruma?
Yeah. So as a Bangladeshi, how did that affect my gender role? Is that what I'm?
Yeah. So basically, how does your culture view independent women and women in the workplace and stuff like that? Basically, yeah.
Okay. So this is like I don't even know how to even answer this in such a compact conversation. Okay, so I come from a first generation family. So my parents came here in 91 to America. We moved around a lot. I come from New York and then Detroit, then to Hamtramck. I'm the only girl in the family. I grew up with two brothers. My parents, the interesting part is as I started growing older, I've seen how lenient my parents really were, but the initial shock of we're trying to not only be a daughter or a sister, we're also fighting two cultures. We're trying to become American. On top of that, I'm from Bangladesh, so trying to keep my parents' roots still intact. So we're trying to do all of these things at once, and then on top of that, we're trying to break the barriers for both. Like if I'm trying to follow the Western civilization or culture, I have to fight against being like too religious or too Bengali or too this or too that. And then it's the same on the opposite end. So while we're doing all of this and fighting all of these other battles and barriers for our identity, on top of that, we have to deal with being a woman in the society. So I grew up in a very conservative home, very, cultural home. I grew up as like a very submissive girl. I always, nodded my head yes. I was very composed on certain things. I used to wear hijab. I've told the story before, but I'll reiterate it. I used to wear hijab for 15 plus years. And then I wasn't supposed to go to college because I was told at 18 I'll get married and call it a day. I didn't even know I was supposed to go to college. I just applied literally I don't know if we could curse on you, but for the heck of it. I literally applied for the heck of it and I got into Wayne State and I had the MEP scholarship at that time. So I was like, okay, I could go to school. Basically fast forward, I started doing slowly just little things and I was like, I know I'm not supposed to get married at 18 and call it a day. Like how Shayma said, that's not the cap. And it's not, I think the misconception between like what an independent woman is, they think that a married woman can't be independent or an independent woman can't be married.
Yes.
And that's where it's like, no, that's false news, because we're not against marriage. We're not against, men. It's not like men are trash and we're independent women. It's just like, hey, let us breathe and let us have our freedom, and we can be independent. But as a Bengali woman in the society and culture I grew up in, being independent was like a fight. It had to be a fight. So it wasn't. But the funny thing is, when I look into history of Bangladeshi women, there were a lot of independent women. There were a lot of independent. There were Bengali professors, Bengali fighters, even during the war, Bengali poets, Bengali actresses, and I don't think it's necessarily just the entire culture. I think there's just compacts of like certain, like little pockets of the culture society that these women have to stay in a box. So they're afraid that we will lose our culture if we don't follow that. So to answer that question, from where I stand and what was viewed in my life, like it was really hard to become an independent woman coming from a Bangladeshi community.
Thank you for sharing. And then Daz'Shavon, you're gonna be next up. So if you wanna chime in on that answer or question, I'm sorry.
So for me, it's completely different. Of course, I'm African American. Being in the workplace and being independent, that's like the best thing for African American woman. It's like, okay, you're a boss, you're a go-getter, you're doing this, you're not at home just sitting on the butt. I come from my mom was a single mother, so she worked and did what she had to do to take care of us. So I look at her and I'm like, no, she doesn't have a college degree, and I'm the second out of her kids to go to college and graduate. Me being on the school board, I'm the third Black person. And that's a big thing. That's a big thing. It's a very big thing. But yeah, it's different, like a little different than you guys. So it's like we're more praised at being independent and having a great position in life. So yeah.
And as a guy, I just want to chime in that's how it should be. By the way, you should be praised for being able to handle stuff individually. But go ahead, Ruma.
I just want to add to that. It's we are eventually praised after we fight the battle and the war. And once we win the war and we're beaten down, and then we're like on top, beaten down, then we're praised for it. So it's
because they finally see the flowers. So they don't want to believe in the seed. They would rather huff and puff and do everything that they can do. And then when they see the flowers, they're like, oh, okay. Like let me just take a step back. You know what I mean? So
I want to chime in on this as well. We have to also remember that with our older generations, that's all they knew.
Right.
And it worked for them. And at the end of the day, in their hearts, they really think it's what's best for us because that's what they know.
Right.
And we have to really work 10 times harder to get it into their minds that this is okay. And we are going to make life better, even better for us as a whole.
Yeah.
So I think it really comes from, just the lack of knowledge and the idea of something new and what comes with it. And they're precious little girls, you know what I'm saying? They want to feel like they need to protect us forever. And they don't know that they're actually hindering us sometimes with that. So that I'm sorry.
And so
to add on to that, Abid, like for me though, like it's kind of like, I know this is better said than done. And I know it's really hard to adapt as you're actually living a life. But like, it really, really bothers me how some people will hold on to like what was normal in the 1980s or in the 1990s and think that that's normal now. We are not at the same time. I literally remember things that I will not even mention, but I remember things that if you talked about this, nothing. And now it's normal. Like it's so normal. So the fact that we're not even living in the same times, that's where I have an issue. Like, yeah, our parents raised us based off of what they knew and what they can do and all that, but it's like to an extent. Because yeah, you're taking everything. Like for me, like I know exactly what I don't want to do for my kids. You know what I mean? So like it's just what's getting,
Definitely. And by the way, while you guys were talking, I seen that smirk on Mayor Majewski's face. That was like a proud smile. So Mayor Majewski, it's your turn now. You want to answer the question, and I could be wrong, but I could have sworn that was a proud smile, Mayor Majewski.
Yeah, I mean, like, I am so enjoying this conversation and so really heartened to see, like, all these young women. Just, it's really, really inspiring. But, you have to remember, of course, I'm 65 years old, so I grew up in another generation, but also, since this question is focused on our ethnicity, I was already a third and fourth generation Polish American, so I was not of an immigrant generation. So, that makes a big difference too. But, like, there is no culture, Polish, European, Bengali, Yemeni, African American, whatever it is, there's no culture that kind of adequately has empowered women or allowed them, freely to reach their potential without some kind of oppression or discrimination. It's just ingrained in us. But and likewise, any culture, Ruma, as you said, can point to their heroines, right? And their female leaders. I mean, every culture has that as well. The problem is when those are the exceptions, right? And then the general life of everyday life of women and the kind of trajectory that they're allowed to take is held down. There was something else I wanted to say about that. Now I can't remember what it was, because so much of what you're saying is just like setting off all these sparks in my head. One thing, I think no matter what culture you talk about, women seem to be, and I heard this in something that someone was saying, that women seem to be perceived as kind of the holders of the culture, right? We're the ones who preserve it and pass it on to the next generation. And that's a heavy, heavy burden when you're also trying to kind of redefine what your role is going to be and what your children's possibilities are going to be. I also want to say that the Polish background, coming from a Polish background, it's still women's rights are a huge problem in Poland today. The Polish regime right now is bordering on fascism, as it is in the U.S. And there are issues that we thought we'd resolved in the 1970s and the 1980s and 90s are coming back and to hold us down again. So, the question always is like, who's kind of who's calling the shots and who's holding the door open or closed. One thing, Ruma, that you were talking about in your background that really interested me, and it's kind of a little bit off the subject, but I really don't want to forget it. You say that you started kind of your journey of like self-expression in fashion, and one of the problems I see, and we're probably going to talk about it later, is that fashion is traditionally a woman's kind of venue, right? And part of the problem, I think, has been that those things that are seen as traditionally feminine or whatever are undervalued. Yeah. So we're given permission to work in a field like fashion, but then those fields, or in education, especially early childhood education, but then those those categories of interest or occupation or whatever are then looked down, not looked down on necessarily, but not given the same compensation, not given the same respect.
The respect, yes. I was told it's too superficial, too shallow. There's no meaning to it. What's the point of doing this?
Yeah, and I think about fashion as an art, right?
Yes.
And I think about the other kinds of women's art that has been, embroidery, making, beautiful things, making a beautiful home, that are undervalued, that are just as valid artistic expressions as, you know, making a statue or whatever, and
Yeah.
take just as much kind of creativity and self-expression and bravery to put out there in the world, right? But that because they're perceived as feminine, aren't given the credit that they should.
No, yeah, thank you for calling that out. It's completely dismissed, yeah.
Yep, and thank you all for those answers. And I just want to let you guys know, people are saying that this conversation is great. So people are love hearing what you guys are saying right now. So keep up the great work. I appreciate all of you. And so I'm going to move on to.
And actually, before you can I jump in at one more thing, because
for sure.
This dialogue across different cultures is really interesting to me, because you know, from my own position as mayor, I try to kind of be respectful of everybody's backgrounds and all the diverse cultures of Hamtramck. And so I don't feel free to criticize what I see in another culture, out of respect. So this is really helpful to hear from, you know, women from various cultures to kind of give their own perspectives. It helps me, and you know, it just helps me to understand, and it also says things that, you know, expresses, you know, concerns that I might have as, you know, wanting everybody in Hamtramck to kind of thrive.
Definitely, and I'm happy to hear that. And so the next question is, all of you are leaders at what you do, but not every woman is as fortunate as the 5 of you. So why do you feel like women are still being left out of positions of leadership? And Daz'Shavon, I'm gonna let you start off with this one, because I know you mentioned that you are an African American and African American woman. I think you mentioned that there's only 3 that were ever in the Hamtramck Public School Board. So I'm gonna let you start off on this one. You are in a leadership position by being on the school board. So you want to go ahead and answer that? You are muted right now, by the way, Daz'Shavon. I just want to let you know if you want to unmute.
How did I mute myself? Okay. For one, like I said in the beginning, this is a man's world. So I don't know if it's masculinity or the whole concept of I'm the man, I'm supposed to have the higher job, I'm supposed to make the most money. But let me go back to that. But I don't know what it is, but it's crazy because at the end of the day, women, we help men. We help them. Even if you're like a big type CEO or you're a music producer, you know, your wife or anybody, they're there to sit beside you just like your wife. She helps you, she sits beside you and help you do things and think of things and give you that second opinion. But as far as in the whole thing about leadership, I guess it's just hard for the man to just have a woman over them. It's like they don't want to have to answer to them. They want to be in charge. You know what I'm saying? It's weird, but like I said, I feel like it's the whole thing of being masculine and in charge and don't want to have to answer to a woman. That's how I feel.
Ruma, I see you nodding your head, so I'm guessing you agree with her?
It does have a lot to do with power play, for sure. It's a lot of egos involved, and from my own journey and what I'm like. I'm sorry, what was that?
No, it was a background.
Oh, it was a background.
Yeah.
To answer the question, the reason why I feel like it's harder for women to take on roles of leadership is because society has put so much obstacles. It's like 10 times more than what a man has to get to just go from A to B. And so a lot of women are like, I'm not even gonna try, because if I try, I'm just not even gonna make it. I get scrutinized for it. They get heat for it. Their rumors come around. They're dealing with things that they don't even need to deal with half the time. And then I remember watching a video where they're like, when a man is assertive, he's like a boss and he's looked, like a godly, but when a woman does it, she's the B word. So it's like, that is true. Why is it that a woman who's assertive is looked at as like the the rude woman who just wants to get ahead. Like you have, it's like a woman with an ego is considered, and I think it has a lot to do with culture and religion, putting women on a pedestal of like this to reach this holy perfection that we will never ever reach as human beings, man or women. Like we are not meant for perfection. That's just setting us up for failure. So if you hold us on this holy pedestal, it's just we're not Virgin Mary. We're not gonna be that, but it's just like these are the women that are always we're told like these are the people you're supposed to look up to and these are who you're supposed to be, but that's impossible for us right now. So it's like they set us up for failure in that aspect already, and then we're constantly fighting through all these other battles. So I don't think women just want to even try for that, and because of all of this. And then when they do try, it's just like even more and more scrutiny that comes with it. So that's probably why a lot of women aren't on a lot of these leadership roles.
Michelle Mooring, by the way, just commented, by the way, staff member at Hanley. We work together with her, my sister and I. Is there a lingering perception, and I feel like you kind of just touched on this, that women, because of traditional gender roles / primary caregivers, are unable to be fully vested in leadership roles? So basically she's asking, is there like a lingering perception that because of those kind of stuff, that they won't be fully vested in leadership roles? I don't know if you want to answer that, or Shayma, it looks like you wanted to answer that
Yeah,
also.
I'm like itching.
Yeah.
I'm honestly itching. I wrote a couple things on that I wanted to touch base on.
Okay.
Okay, so like let's just take it break it completely down. So as a woman, as a female, we're physiologically we're just built to do multiple things at once. So it's like I can carry a child and still do the normal functions of a day, which would be tasks, but I'm ultimately still doing another task, which is, taking. So we're multitaskers. We do this naturally. It's who we are. Okay, which I think that's very hard for a man to fully grasp. It's different because we wear so many caps, and within those caps, there's literally different subcaps that we put on. So I feel like when a woman finally develops this independent virtue to her, she herself ends up in a category. And every woman that I know that's independent, we look like the freaks, if you will. Like we look like the weird ones out. And in reality, it's like, why? Because I'm projecting a message? Or is it because I'm educating myself? Or is it because I'm doing something that you don't think is normal? Like, how does that make that situation okay? It doesn't. That's where a lot of people have a problem. If you don't understand something, you're ready to rip it apart. And that's where I think women have the short end of the stick. We're not understood. So I feel like we don't even get that opportunity because we are not understood in that aspect. And it's like funny, like I know you guys are mentioning like we have to fight so many obstacles in order to get to that level. But if you honestly think about it, it's like as a girl, you have to fight the other girls. And then you have to fight the girls that are also strong, but then they look at you weird. And then you have to deal with the guys that are just saying, what is she doing? And then there's so many avenues. And I feel like once you step out of that independent category, that's when a guy will be like, oh. And it's so hard to do that. It's like almost impossible. Because once you're independent, you're like, what more can I do? But they still won't see that. It's still that blinder is still up. And it's very unfortunate. And I don't want to say all, but like society in general, our society has a very, very big problem when it comes to letting women have a voice and letting that voice actually be heard. Because it's one thing to actually listen to something, and then it's different to actually hear something. So we're sick of the hearing. We want people to actually listen to us.
Definitely. And Mayor Majewski, and now I'm going to dish it to you. A leader of all leaders is the mayor of the city of Hamtramck. So the question, basically, just to recap the question, is that why do you feel like women are still being left out of positions of leadership? You're muted right now, Mayor Majewski, by the way.
Oh, thanks.
No problem.
I guess we have to ask, who's holding the door, right? who's guarding the door, and it's not women. So who has the power to to determine who they can share that power with? And for the most part, it's not us. I'm the first woman mayor, in 100 years. And the point was made earlier that we are not a minority, right? And so why am I the only person sitting at that table now that Andrea Karpinski has resigned? The only person sitting at that city council table who's a woman? Why aren't we asking? We talk about diversity all the time. Why does that diversity not? It encompasses race, it encompasses religion, it encompasses ethnic background. When does gender come into that discussion? So that's part of it. But I also think that what I'm hearing from the other ladies too is that there's an internal struggle as well. To even to put yourself out there, to be in that kind of visible position, to be that kind of a target, because you are. I have to say that one thing that maybe we can, do for each other, because I know that I wouldn't be in this position if this wasn't done for me, is to mentor each other and encourage each other, and to be positive voices and conduits for each other. Like I say, I grew up in a completely different generation, but it was also the kind of second wave feminism, right, of the 1970s, which was really, really instrumental in who I became as a person. So I had people who encouraged me. I had people who were kind of conscious about encouraging women and mentoring women. And none of us, we're all in important positions in one way or another, and none of us got here on our own. We got here because other people helped us, because, some teacher back there encouraged us, because we had a model of a single mother who inspired us, because we read a history book, with Joan of Arc in it or something. There were people and circumstances that helped to bring us here. But in the end, we had to be willing to kind of face those, to be that target, right? And that's a hard thing to do, and not everyone, is willing to do it, or shouldn't, and no one should be expected to do it. I think that one thing that I'm hearing a lot too is that there's a kind of a tendency towards self-sacrifice, and to kind of be the kind of person who helps others, or who. And that can be inspiring, and it can be energizing and motivating, but it can also be a trap. And so that's a fine line too, that women have to struggle to learn how to walk, to be in a leadership position, or in a position of some kind of power, without letting it kind of eat their lives. I say this from personal experience, feeling my life eaten every day by this position. But it's a real kind of, I think, internal struggle for people. Can we even envision ourselves as leaders, and do we want all the baggage that comes along with that?
I just want to say quickly that I'm just so glad that you guys are all of the ladies are on this panel, because you all are very powerful women, and just hearing this, and just watching Mayor Majewski throughout her time as mayor, and just seeing everything, and just know that you're doing an awesome job. This is just me letting you know. Keep up the great work, and I just want to make sure I mention that. And big sis, I'm gonna ask you a question, and then obviously I know you're about to ask the next question as well for the panel. But someone, Bill Meyer, just commented, how do we get women of color in roles in Hamtramck? I want to ask you that question, and then you can go ahead and ask the next question. I know I'm putting you on the spot. She said she didn't want to answer much questions. She just want to ask the questions, but I'm going to put you on the spot, big sis. You're muted, by the way, big sis.
I just want to say that for me personally, just being on this platform was nerve-wracking. I was thinking about all the comments that might come through, all the judgment. If you want women of color to be in leadership positions, stop judging us, motivate us, support us. Especially it starts with our family. And I honestly can say that my family has come so far, and they are my rocks, and they helped me become the person that I am today. It took a long time for me to open up out of my shell and become the person that I am. And I have a son, he's 11 years old, and I'm a mother first, and that was my priority, and it still is my priority, but I didn't let that define me. I was able to become who I am, and I want to push further. But society, help us out here, give us some slack. We work hard. We have great ideas. We want to lead. And honestly, it comes from the insecurity of some of our fellow society members, I'm not gonna say whatever, men or female, it doesn't matter, that just constantly put us down and make us double think and really push us away from leadership roles. Because we don't want to deal with all that stress. Believe me, we can do it. And Mayor is the perfect example. Deja, perfect example. We can lead. It's just that there's a lot of pressure that comes along with it. And if we just have the, respect and
support
from the community, that would make us more likely to join.
All right.
Try.
Thank you. Now, if you want to ask the next question for the panel,
Okay.
And Ruma, we're gonna make sure that you start off on this one, by the way.
All right, so one thing I can say that we have in common, all of us, no matter what race we are, is that we work hard and we're good at what we do. So check this out. In 2018, women earned 85% of what men earned, according to a Pew Research Center analysis of median hourly earnings of both full and part-time workers in the United States. And for women of color, the pay gap was even worse. What are your thoughts on this pay gap?
BS. It's just BS. Straight up BS.
Mic drop.
I know a lot of times they say that the reason why they don't pay women a lot or the equal pay has to do with like maternity. I'm not sure. I'm not too familiar as to why it happens, obviously, but I know they say that the emotional capacity. Oh, Shayma, you're on mute.
Ruma, there's no explanation.
Yeah, there's no explanation. I'm just trying to get my head around it, but they say maternity and the emotional capacity, apparently. But yeah, I think it's complete BS. I think it's 2021. How are we still here? But I could ask that for a lot of things, and we have to work double. And then on top of that, we're dealing with the harassment at work on top of not being fully paid. So it's like, I think we should give more payment for that harassment. But yeah, I find it complete BS, and I think it's time that we need it to become equal, if not more.
Go ahead, Shayma. You want to go ahead and chime in now?
So I remember I was in a political science class, I believe, and we were talking about the inequality in pay. And I remember a gentleman in the back was like, "I'll be damned if my wife will ever work for another man." And I just I turned around and I was like, but what if she works for a female? Because I'm pretty sure that there's about 4 presidents of a hospital, that there's multi-million businesses that are run by female, that there are so many different opportunities that thought that doesn't even need to cross your mind. So it's funny that even when there is room for us to grow, we have to deal with those comments. And I love how you guys were saying, all we need is that support. Now, coming from a girl that has health problems, support is a must. And I'll tell you guys, coming from a Yemeni culture, when you get hit with a sickness, they don't want to accept it. They will do anything in their power to brush it off. So that's what I was dealing with. So I was dealing with being a female, being Yemeni, being from Dearborn, being brown skin, having health concern, having all of these things, and I had zero support, nothing from my family, nothing from my friends, nobody knew what to do with me. So that's why I told myself, I will not let anybody say that they don't have somebody that I can personally touch. So I don't like that there's people, and like how Abby said, it's not just men anymore. It's everybody. Everybody's working to be the hater now. And it's like, stop the hate, pass the love. And then I wanted to reiterate what Ruma was saying about how people are just not nice. It's just not okay to be talked down to. We are all human beings at the end of the day, whether you're a guy, whether you're a girl, whether you're an alien, you're a creature of God, you all deserve to be treated with decency and respect, ultimately. And as a female, it's like, why do I have to even say that? Why do I have to say treat me with respect? Treat me with dignity. Treat me like how, and this new thing where people are like, treat me like how you would treat my sister, treat me like how you treat, no. Don't treat me like how you treat your mom. Do not treat me like how you treat your sister. Treat me like how you treat you. Like you. Because I don't care, those are not you. I want to be treated like how you want to be treated. So I think ultimately it's that kindergarten fundamental life value lesson. Treat people the way you would like to be treated.
Mayor Majewski, I'm going to dish it to you now. We're going back to the women earn 85% of income compared to men question. Just want to let you know you're also muted as well.
Yeah, thanks for keeping reminding me. So, I mean, part of it, just in real practical terms, is because women get channeled into positions that are so-called traditionally female, and that those jobs, probably as a result of being considered traditionally female, are undervalued. And it's just as simple as that, if those same jobs were done by men, they would be earning a man's salary. Right? So, part of it is that kind of just kind of deeply ingrained perception that these jobs are worth less for one reason or another. We need to start telling people, I think, how much we earn in the workplace. There's kind of a taboo about that, like you don't talk about how much you're getting paid. I think folks need to let folks know, let their coworkers know what they're being paid. I mean, to some degree, like being unionized helps, because then there's a set pay scale that's not gender related, although the jobs themselves might be, that's a way to kind of under the table, slip in those inequalities. And so it kind of depends on, where you're working, but basically I think it's just because the work that we do is undervalued. It's considered not as intellectual or as skilled or whatever. And often it's because it has to do with service. And service is seen as a woman's realm, and not and as something that we're kind of made to do, or formed to do, created to do, and not part of a profession.
Yep. I thank you for sharing that, Mayor. And I was just checking something out because I'm about to dish it to Deja, and Deja, just want to let you know you're also muted before you start talking. But Javier was checking somebody on Instagram that was talking talking the way he shouldn't be talking. Typical guys being guys. And so Javier, who's her nephew, By the way, all-star player for the Cosmos. If you're still watching Javier, shout out to Javier and the Hamtramck Cosmos. Top 10 in the state in basketball right now. First time in like 20 years or so, even longer. So just giving a shout out to Javier, checking another dude on Instagram. I appreciate you, Javier. And the reason why he's that way is because of the wonderful Daz'Shavon Hall, his auntie, looking after him and watching him and making sure he's on track to doing great things in the future as he's doing right now. So Deja, what are your thoughts on this whole 85% women earning, 85% of men earn in the workplace situation?
And then the fact that people of color, women of color, get less.
Yeah.
Well, like Roma said, it's bull. And me being African American, not saying that you guys aren't people of color, because yes, you are too, because we're not from here. I just have to say it's not fair and it's not easy, but we're in this new century where we're trying to make it better for us. But it sucks that just because of the color of my skin, I'm not going to get the same as this woman who, what should I say, she doesn't have no million in her. So it sucks. It really does suck, but it's not fair. It's not fair at all, especially for single women, single mothers who work hard to provide for their families. And women in general, you don't even have to be single. You can be working hard just for your children and showing them that you are independent and you can do this. But the whole pay gap, it really sucks. And I know, like, back in the day it was worse. We're at 85%. Now it's not a good thing that it's not a good thing that we're at 85%, because if anything, we should be at 95 or 100% just like the men. Because we do work harder. We work harder because we have to show that boss that we can, to handle a household of 2 or 1 children or 3 or 5 children and come to work and do my very best job, even though I'm tired. Work more than 1 job. I remember my mom, she was working downtown and she was making like $5 an hour. $5 an hour. But she did what she had to do for us, and I love her for that, But I'm so proud. But it sucks. It really does suck, but it is. It's real touchy.
We're here with you, Deja. We're here with you.
It sucks. That's why when I got on the school board, she was really excited. A lot of people was excited for me. When I graduated from college, she was excited for me. But, I'm still at this journey in my life, and I'm going to get where I got to be so I can make her proud. But, yeah, it sucks.
Salute.
I just want to add to this, just to encourage her up, but women already have it hard. Women of color already have it hard, but Black women, especially in America, have it the hardest. And I've been watching, witnessing, and just viewing it. And the reason why, like how Daz'Shavon was saying, that in her family they're taught to be independent, is because internal of their homes they have to be taught that way, because outside of it everybody's attacking. And so it's like double the whammy, and it's unfair. And the fact that women are thrown in these obstacles, these fires, and they're just trying to put out the fire just to survive. And now it's like, now we're trying to not only survive, we're trying to thrive and clear off the burn marks from our body from just putting out this fire. So I think this is the reason why it's like we deserve equal pay.
So not only it's either we have to fight for our independence or we have to be independent. There's no middle ground. And I was gonna make that comment earlier, but I was just like, let me keep that to myself, because I was like, it's literally one or the other. It's either we're trying to at least be recognized, or it's to the point where we have to do it to the point to physically survive, which is unfortunate.
And thank you, Daz'Shavon, for sharing that. And you have people commenting that salute to your mom. There's a few people saying that. So shout out to your mom. And I agree with Ruma, what she said 100%. And then Michelle Mooring also just mentioned that in 2017, more than 40% of head of households in the U.S. are women. Undercutting their pay is harming families, the very fabric of society. And then Jen Smith also just mentioned that behind every strong man even stronger women. Women are often put into roles that society has set for them, mom roles, wife roles, etc. However, women today display independence and courage and are more outspoken and have realized those leadership roles that once was held by men should be roles for women as well. So you know there are definitely people out there agreeing with each and every one of you with what is being said. So I'm gonna now move on to the next question. And as a man, it would be foolish to say that we men don't play a role in the inequality of women face in the workplace, social life, and at home. So if there are men out there that are watching, which I'm sure there are, what can men do to help women break this inequality barrier that has been going on for far too long all across the world? I heard, different things like support and stuff like that. So I'm gonna let Big Sis, I know you said you don't want to answer, but I'm gonna let you start off with this one if you want to. Go ahead. You're muted, by the way, right now, Abid.
All right, so I think that if everyone started in their own household, support your sisters, support your mom, support your cousins, your aunts. Everyone has women in their family. Focus on your family. Push them to be better. Stop worrying about what everybody else is doing.
Right.
Your family should be your priority. Like I said before, I'm thankful for the men in my family. We have to also understand that when it comes to men, and particularly some men or whatever, their idea of protecting their daughter or sister or whatever is being overprotective, because they see it as, okay, I'm in society, I see how unpredictable it is, I see how it could be dangerous, I see how, and it's okay to protect your family and to keep them safe, but at the same time, they have to really think about what they're doing, like the damage that they're doing to their daughter and to their mother or their sister or whoever wants to come to society and make it better. A lot of these girls have so much potential. A lot of these girls have so much talent. A lot of these girls are so smart and can be a vital addition to society. Like, it's ruining society as a whole. Like, why are you keeping these girls just away from everything when they can make it better? And my thing is, support your daughters, support your sisters, support your family, and don't worry about anybody else. Literally, just start at home, give them the push, and help them become the best version that they can be. And that's my thought on that. That's what men can do for me.
Shayma, you want to go ahead? Shayma Ghaleb.
So, first thing I want to say to every girl that has a dream, that has a passion, that has a desire in this world, and you feel stuck, remember to keep your eye on the goal. I know that's easier said than done, but remember that you have a voice and all you have to do is use it. And I know for a lot of people that's more scary than it is impossible, because a lot of fear is instilled in our culture. Now, to add on to that, I always like to use the religion to shut up what somebody is saying. So, I'm Muslim, so I'll speak on Islam. So, Islamically, there is actually the first word that was dropped to us was read, was to obtain knowledge. So, if you are going to try to use the religion to belittle me, you, sir, are wrong. So, keep that in mind for anything, whether it be your mom that's belittling you, or your family, or whoever the case may be. You yourself have that right. Not because you're a female, not because you're a man, but because you're a child of God. If you believe in God, this is what you need. Like, this is the deal. Another thing is, I feel like, and it goes a lot with my culture too, if you're not a nurse or if you're not a teacher, you have to be a housewife. Like, it's A, B, or C. There's no, if you're anything else, it's like, what? But the world is endless. And now I'm so happy that our generation is starting to remove these molders and remove these like taboo situations where girls can't even do it anymore. I'm seeing so many more girl engineers, girl doctors, pharmacists, people that are getting out there, community advocator. I know the minute I put my faith publicly, people are talking. I know this, guys. I know it. But the best part, and my religion tells me this too, let them talk. I collect. You know what I mean? Rather it be wisdom, rather it be good deeds, rather it be whatever the case may be, I'm collecting. I'm ultimately learning. I'm ultimately developing. So regardless, keep your battles small. You don't have to be out here cooking and punching. Keep them small. Keep them obtainable. Keep them reasonable.
Thank you, Shayma. Majewski, I'm gonna now go to you.
So, you know, we're talking about what men can do, what guys can do. And considering that, you know, they hold more actual power to enact change, then they need to use that power justly, to make legislative changes, to you know, change their hiring practices, to change their pay practices, all of that stuff. You know, I don't want to put all the pressure on women, to be out there and to be brave, although that's part of my message too. But yeah, men need to use that power that they have, in just ways. You know, when I was an undergrad in the 70s, and kind of the new wave of feminism was like just so prominent, was we had consciousness raising sessions. So, in which women would get together and they would kind of talk about their experiences and learn from that, like the ways in which they were oppressed, but also in which the ways in which they kind of were enmeshed in that oppression and participants in it. And it reminds me too of like all the changes that we're seeing now with Black Lives Matter, and just a general raising of consciousness about racial issues and where we all kind of fit into this dynamic of racialized power in the United States. And so, and this struggle for gender equality kind of follows that same kind of model, right? We need to on all sides of it, men and women, look at our place in this kind of structure of power, and see ways in which we participate in it and need to change, ways in which we benefit from it, and need to change, and ways in which we're held down by it. And that includes, like, seeing kind of the more ingrained and subtle ways that, for men, seeing the more ingrained and subtle ways that women, that they demean and threaten women by their language. I'm thinking about, like, this Republican Shirky, right? Who talked about spanking Governor Whitmer. I mean, that's sexualized, demeaning, and threatening language. And if we only talk about it in terms of kind of, I don't know, the politics of it, we miss the deeper, just the ingrained kind of threat of violence of it. So that's, and I think in the end, I mean, it comes to what other people are saying too, that we all need to get in touch with that, with our humanity that wants the best for everyone around us, right? That wants people to reach their potential, and we need to not, find ways that we can empower that rather than be obstacles to it.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate that. Daz'Shavon Hall, you're up.
I'm not talking to you. I'm fine. Like everybody else said, men just need to be there for you, uplift you, empower you, motivate. Motivating is a very, very, very important thing. But if men do less judging and more, praising, I don't know, it's gonna take time, but at the end of the day, it is 2021. We're not fully there yet, but we're getting there, and they can keep, which I say, trying to push us or shove that door closed, but we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there, and then we're gonna be able to, be face to face with men, and yeah. But as far as at home, definitely you need to praise the women in your household, in your family, to do better, want better, and know that they can do whatever they want if they put their minds to it.
Thank you, Daz'Shavon. Appreciate it. And then Ruma.
Basically, it's just to sum up what everyone is saying. There's two things here that needs to be in place: emotional intelligence, and then courage. Publicly speaking out for us, publicly standing up for us, publicly, doing the things that need to be done for us, acknowledging the fact that we are considered second-class citizens, and publicly speaking out against it. That's necessary. That takes courage. And I think the main thing is how the mayor, she was saying that we're consciously awakening as a collective and as a whole. And it comes down to emotional intelligence. It comes down to humanity and being empathetic and just being like, okay, we are all beings, so how can we get through this together? Emotional support, that validation. As much as we don't really need that validation, but it's like if we're gonna get all these judgments, then like how Daz'Shavon was saying, praise the women for their work, and yeah, it's just connecting with another woman and understanding like, hey, they're going through it. How can we help? And just raising the boys to be emotionally intelligent. That's all it really takes.
Right. So slowly, let's start normalizing it. Let's start normalizing being respectable. Let's start talking to people with basic decency.
Yes,
There's nothing wrong with that.
And the ego play.
Wanting to be exactly. I'm not. I just as a human being, as a female, to say all of us, even you. Okay, like all of us on this panel right now, even you, Ahmad. I know we will not be those types of people that are going on and just saying like how you were saying earlier that Ms. Hall's nephew was defending or whatnot. That's not in our character. We don't do that. Like us, all of us as leaders, we don't hold that hostility in our heart. So as a leader, I think it's so important to project that. And honestly, single out those people that are being disrespectful. Make them feel like the odd one out. Because honestly, on every level, it's wrong. It's not okay. So if you want to talk about it on a spiritual level, you guys, I remember in my micro class, okay? I remember in my micro class, it was a class that was relatively all men, okay? And there was one of my lab partners, he literally told me, he was like, when you talk, it's as if 7 men are speaking. And I took that and I was like, I didn't even know how to take it. I was like, I'm 4'11". I weigh $110. Like, I don't even know what the heck that's supposed to mean. But then I had one of my really good friends explain it to me. And honestly, it was like that your voice carries a lot of power, so project that. And every person that I know that has that little piece of leadership in them has that projecting ability. So it's very, very, it's our job. It's our job to project that positivity, to teach people how to be kind.
But look at, even in that statement, you have the voice of 7 men. Why is that needed the voice of 7 men to be powerful?
I know, and it's so funny because I said, so you're basically telling me I'm not even 5 feet. You're telling me I'm more than all of the guys that are sitting at this table? I'll take it. Oh, I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
Yeah,
you know
because we live in a man's world, yeah.
And that's what people don't understand. Like, your insult, I'm taking them. You may think that they're an insult, but you don't know how I'm taking it. I'm taking it as I'm doing something right. If you're talking about me, I'm doing something right. So.
But I don't think it was even meant as an insult. It was meant as a flattery.
No, it wasn't. It was just like whoa. It was like a whoa, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's not like, what do you do? Like, whoa.
Yeah.
So it's refreshing. Don't get me wrong. I was really like honored that, like, you know, but
because
at the same time, I'm like, why is that an abnormal thing to see?
Absolutely, because we live in a society where, like Daz'Shavon said, it's like we live in a man's world. So to say, oh, you have the voice of 7 men, that means you're powerful. We know what you're saying. But at the same time, okay, wait, you're saying 7 men. So it's still, it's still so much
You're
more.
not even going to give me, you're not even going to give me the credit. You would rather give the 7 men the credit.
Yeah.
Like, but you told me that I was the celebrity.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. It's just, yeah.
You're okay having the voice of one woman. That's more than
Thank you.
I'm
Look at you got the Shay Strong. That's all I need. That's all I need.
I'm not in my head. I just want to let you know, and I think just going back to wrapping it up. Mayor Majewski just said it. She just said it's all about humanity and just going back to the basics of humanity, honestly. And it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. You should just treat everyone with the same respect. And if you really sincerely believe in that and start off with that, I think that you will carry yourself in a way in life that you should carry yourself. Everyone, doesn't matter what religion, whatever belief you believe in, and that's the best way of going about it. And you know, we got people agreeing with everything that is being said as well. And so, you know, what's funny is when I sent this last question, I already knew it was going to be a great discussion. And so I put that, you know, I have a daughter, by the way, and who I hope will eventually watch this video. And I said that because I was like, man, it's going to be a great video. And I'm for sure going to make sure she watches this video. I don't care if it's 10, 15 years down the line, inshallah. So for all of the young girls out there who are watching and looking up to the 5 of you, what message do you want to send out to them? This is how we'll wrap this up. This is like the final message for someone that may be watching now. You know, we have students, Mustabe might show them, you know, this video, or someone, or may watch in the future. So what message do you want to send out to them? We're going to go back to the beginning where we started. So I'm going to start off with Mayor Majewski, and we're going to make our way around back to my sister at the end. But starting off with Mayor Majewski.
Okay, I would say, first of all, you've got great models all around you. Take a look around you, find those models, find those people who support you, and listen to them, and listen to yourself. And I mean, I know that you guys are all going to say really wise things, so I'm not going to try to do it. But my one message would be to be brave.
Yes.
Be brave. There you go. Thank you so much, Mayor Majewski. Daz'Shavon Hall, I'm dishing it to you now.
Like the mayor said, be brave. Be very, very motivated for what you want to do, because at the end of the day, you can do what you want to do. If you know you don't have that support at home, I'm pretty sure there's somebody else that's going to give you that support. You know, I worked with the rec, so it was a lot of kids that looked up to me growing up. When I used to work with me, how all the kids always used to be under us just because we were fun and stuff. So, you know, just give that margin in you. I know that, you know, you're going to let your daughter do, you know, not what she wants, but you're going to let her be that person that she wants to be. You're not going to be all like super duper strict and tell her that she can't do that or she's not supposed to do that. So when it's the time for her old enough to play basketball, and you told me that you were going to let her play basketball, so I better see her playing basketball. And volleyball too, if you allow her. But no, most definitely, you know, just you can be whoever you want to be, and it doesn't matter where you come from. You can come from a rich family, middle class, poor family. You know, you don't have to be that person that somebody else was. When I say that, I mean you don't have to be like everyone else. You don't have to be sitting around and I'm probably gonna offend people, so I'm not gonna say that, but yeah, you know, just do what you want to do and be motivated and be brave, like the mayor said, and have courage, and just, you know, it's your life and you make it, and it can take a while for you to figure it out, but it's your life and you get to take a pause, you get to go down whichever road that you want to go down. So, yeah.
Thank you so much, Daz'Shavon Hall. Ruma Begum.
I would say, so right now, part of my journey has been self-acceptance and vulnerability. It is okay to be vulnerable. It is okay to show emotions. It is okay to put yourself first. It is okay to take care of your mental health. It is okay to seek therapy if you need it. It is okay to seek that support if you need it. But ultimately, what it comes down to is your self-validation and self-acceptance. Once you accept who you are as a person and being, you can shine bright as you want. You don't need to dim yourself down for anybody. So that's the part of my journey that I'm on. And speaking to you guys has been like waking me back up as well, because I've been falling off every now and then. And this journey is not going to be an easy one, but it's not meant, anything worthwhile is not meant to be that easy. But eventually it becomes effortless and fun once you get the grip and grasp of it.
Thank you, Ruma. Shayma?
If I were to give anybody a take-home advice, honestly, it would be to allow yourself 15 seconds. It takes 15 seconds to get yourself on board. It takes 15 seconds to just do it. If your biggest thing is just getting that question out, 15 seconds. Get yourself to get over it. Like it's as simple as that. So we are our biggest critics. Yourself is your biggest critic. And if you can overcome yourself, you can overcome anybody. And that's very, very, very important to understand. If you can overcome yourself, you can overcome anybody. So if I want to let anybody know anything, it's just stay true to who you are and do what you believe is honestly right. Take that 15-second bravery test and you'll be all right.
Thank you, Shayma. And last but not least, Big Sis, you want to close us out? You're muted, by the way, Big Sis. You're muted. It's all right. I've been doing it all day.
Okay, so, I'm new to public speaking, so I kind of wrote this down because I didn't want to forget anything. Okay, so my message to all little girls out there is to not wait for anyone to save you. Don't do it. Be the best that you can be. Help as much people as you can. Your possibilities are endless. Go into everything with pure intentions and stay true to who you are, just like most of you guys said. Not everyone's gonna like you, but even then, still be kind, be respectful, and be humble. You're going to encounter many hurdles. However, continue to stay firm with your beliefs and your goals. Life is a journey to find your calling, but it's also temporary. Set your priorities straight. Surround yourself with people that you can learn and grow from. Constantly work on yourself to be better, and remember to never compare yourself to anyone, because everyone's journey is at a different time, and everybody's capabilities are different. Everyone has the same 24 hours in the day, so make it count. Learn to actively listen. That's my biggest thing that I tell young girls today, is to actively listen and take criticism, not in a bad way. Take it and grow with it. You either can take it, and if it doesn't have anything to do with what you need, let it go. But if it does help you grow, take it and grow with it. Know your worth. Always put 100% everything that you do. You're going to make mistakes. You are going to fail. And that is okay. It is your job to take those mistakes, take those fails, and pick out the lessons that you're supposed to learn from them. And most importantly, don't forget about yourself. Roma, I'm all about self-care. Self-care is not selfish. It is mandatory. And that's it. That's all I'm going to say. So.
Well, there you go. You want to do the claps, the air claps, whatever it is that you want. This was an awesome conversation. I mean, there's plenty of people on social media already agreeing with it. And honestly, I'd love to have you guys on either individually or some other time. I know Shayma was talking about it before, that we can do one, with maybe the other side, with guys here, and maybe the topic can go back and forth. Hopefully guys that can handle a conversation like this, by the way. I know there's not that many out there that can keep up and would not know what to say or anything like that. But overall, about this, let's stick with today. Awesome job. This was amazing. I can't wait to rewatch this some other time as well. So thank you, ladies, for doing this. I really do appreciate it. And hope you guys continue to inspire people like myself. Doesn't have to be ladies that you inspire, even us men as well. So thank you, and thank you for being someone that my daughter also can look up to as well. So have a great one, and I will see you all hopefully sooner rather than later.
Thank you, Omar, for doing this.